Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here on World Peace Commission. When we say world peace, the first thing that comes to mind is we are responsible for peace. Yes, it all lies in our hands how to bring about peace and make this world a beautiful place to live. This initiative is amazing, and we, people living in this world, have to make it more interesting. So, a very warm welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Bakshi Khurdi, an educationist settled in Switzerland. The reason I'm a part of this amazing initiative by Dr. Raja Rao is for one reason. We, the people, need to bring about the change. Even if I'm sitting far away from India, my Janmabhoomi, I'm connected to the people and doing my work from my Karmabhoomi, that is Switzerland. So, namaskar, everyone. And for this session, I'm going to be talking about socialization for children. This is one of the very, very important initiative and topic that we need to ponder upon. You must be wondering why. Sole reason, children are the builder of the nation. So if the foundation is strong, if the children are well educated, if the children understand the need of right and wrong, what to do and what not to do, automatically this place will become a beautiful place to live, and children will understand the do's and don'ts in much more powerful way. Socialization, you must be wondering, it's such a simple term. Why do we need to take the extra step to educate our children? The answer is very simple. When we say socialization, it just doesn't mean socializing in terms of parties or get togethers. Socialization simply means when we are trying to connect with people, when we are trying to make our children understand what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done. And having said that, it doesn't mean that we are spoon feeding them. We are just laying the foundation, just doing the basic framework of laying the foundation and explaining them, not putting anything in their delicate minds. It's a responsibility of us adults to understand that children's mind is very fragile, very delicate, and very sensitive. So be careful what you feed it. It's like a hard drive. Once you feed the information, it becomes stronger and deeper and it starts working on its own. So I'm going to be sharing my presentation to make you understand a little bit more clear what exactly is socialization. When I say socialization, it's very important for everyone to understand and see the basics which are relatable and understandable. So I'm just sharing my screen. Bear with me. Here you go. So when I say socialization, the very first important thing that should come in the minds of people is why children? Why did I choose socialization of children? And as I said, it's something delicate. And as an educationist, I'm an educationist teaching the world the basics of business, communication, and human resources. And dealing with human resources, I thought it is always better and good to understand how we can socialize and make things easier and much more clearer. So it's the process by which children are prepared to become successful members of society. This requires the learning of skills, behaviors, patterns, ideas, and values needed for competent functioning in the society in which the child is growing up. So when I say it requires being competent, it's only us who can make our child understand the do's and don'ts. Because once they understand what needs to be done and how it needs to be done, they can definitely become successful. A child is very fragile. And as I said, it is totally on us how we educate them, what we do, and what we don't do. So once we give them the basics of what is the framework like, where are we? Why are we? So basically, trying to answer the 5 W's. That's how it starts as quickly as possible. So when I say 5 W's, it stands for the what, when, who, where, and why. As an individual, if you make these questions clear in the minds of the children, the 5 W's, automatically it will lead to how, the H of the overall solution. Once we understand the H, then the things start becoming clearer. And it's very important when we are doing this framework, children will understand faster and they will become much more competent to deal with the changing world. And when I say as a child is growing, it is very, very important, especially for us, to make those skills brighten up each day. When the child is growing, he or she is curious. They want to know more. They want to understand more. And that can only be done if we give them little bit autonomous skills. Having said that, it looks very simple, autonomous. Tell them, let them do what they want to do. But do it in a way that you are doing it with other children. Because if you're taking care of your child alone, if he or she is the only child, sometimes he may not see other difficulties with kids. Normally, when they're together, they face. So that's why social interaction is very, very important. When kids are in a gardery or in a creche or in a nursery, they tend to understand better the joys of caring and sharing. It's very normal. Sometimes both kids wants the same toy or both girls want to play with the same doll. So how you can make them understand the reasoning of timing? You can play with it, but let's take turns. Share with your friend for some time and then she will give it to you. So maybe you can have this toy and she can have this toy. And like this, both of them can play for a period of time. And by this, you are making your kids understand the value of time, which is very important. So they understand the value of time, they understand the value of caring, they understand the value of sharing. All three lessons at the same time. When you are doing this, it's very important to see how well the two kids or whatever number of kids they're playing with each other and how quickly they become bored, how quickly they start getting agitated or aggressive, or are they quiet for a longer time? Are they smiling all the time? By observing these small things, you can easily understand how your child is developing. It's something very, very important, but you can't ignore it for the simple reason because you have to keep on observing consistently, not just 1 day or 2 days. Because if you observe that behavior consistently for a period of time, you can see how by taking turns, by caring, by sharing, they are happy about it or they feel sad. Oh, my doll is being played by another kid or my train is with another kid for that period of time, for that long period of time. So it's very, very important. The kids need to socialize because man is a social animal. And until and unless you don't start from really the basics when they're so young, so small, it may not have the same impact. Now you can see when I make people understand man is not a social animal. We all need to socialize. We all need to get together. And especially when children are at that fragile age, at that crucial age, we need to see how we can overcome the feelings of making other people happy. Sometimes you have seen some children when they give their toy to somebody, they are happy, they clap their hands, they have excitement in their eyes, they have happiness, it's blooming out, you can loud and clear. But sometimes we see some kids are giving their toy or giving their piece of bread to somebody, but they're not happy. They are just doing it because you as their mom or you as their dad or you as their grandparent is telling them to do so. In the past, coming from India, it's beautiful when we have grandparents taking care of us. So even when we are in our family, it's a socialization which begins quite early with parents, which are our immediate circle, with grandparents, which is a little bit on an outer circle, and then with family, the extended family and friends. This just helps in developing our cognitive skills because the more we start remembering, oh, that's Papa, that's Mama, that's grandfather, that's grandmother. So our cognitive skills are also developing at the same time. It helps us in sharpening our memory because we tend to understand with whom we have to have a specific behavior. I remember when my kids had come here, um, they were a little bit confused because when we were going with our Indian friends, they would say, which language are we supposed to speak? Because socialization is a must, whether it's in your own circles, in your own cultures, or in foreign culture. So, having come here, it was our responsibility that we need to take our kids to different domains or different cultures or different people. So when we are mixing around, we would tell them, okay, we are going to an Indian family, so try to speak in Hindi. We are going to a French family, we are going to a Swiss family to try to speak in French. So understanding where they are going, that would also sharpen their skills in changing their behavior. I would say, in this behavior transition, how they're supposed to behave, what they're supposed to wear, what they might be eating at that place. These are very small things which help in making a socialization process much more refined and much more beautiful. The main aim of any socialization process is to develop self. We are going out, we are stepping out of our comfort zone so that we can interact better, we can evolve better. So if you are in a closed room, you're not comparing yourself with anyone, you're not seeing other people around you, so you will always think, I am the best. But only when you step out of that box, so called box, you will see how the world is. It's like a frog. When the frog is in the pond, he thinks that he's the best, he's the king. It's only when he steps out of the pond and goes to a bigger pond or a bigger river, then he realizes, oh my God, this is a big, bad world. I need to survive. And that's how you learn the survival of the fittest, the survival game, that we need to do something extra. And it's always the best when we start this lesson of survival when a kid is small. Second step is enabling self regulations, which is the do's and don'ts. We need to tell them what is right, what is wrong, what is good behavior, what is not so good behavior. We should not be using negative connotations. One thing which is very important for us as parents is to remember, always have positive reinforcement, because the more and more we are positively reinforcing our kids, better it is for them, because then they are able to understand and achieve in a longer duration in much more stronger way. Empower achievement, then teach them appropriate social roles. It's very important because when you are in a specific society, what should be done and what should not be done, it's very important. Because if you are in a foreign country, you definitely need to tell them this is not accepted. You need to adapt where you are. So when you are channelizing behaviors, kids will be smarter because they will know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And with passage of time, believe me, it's very, very easy. In the beginning, it might look a little difficult because we as parents have to struggle with it. But as we grow, as we keep on consistently conditioning the minds of these young children, by the time they are in teens, adolescence, or in teens, or in early adulthood, their mind is already developed. They know the right and wrong, and they will work accordingly how to make it even better and stronger. So it's very important for all the people to keep on consistently installing these values, these practices, and at the same time, develop those skills which will make them stronger. Also, when I say teach appropriate social skills, that's just basically more in terms of culture. Wherever you are, make sure your child is dressed appropriately. Like if in India, depending on north of India or south of India, the first thing which is very important when you go to somebody's house is how to greet a person. So you'll say namaste, or you will say vanakkam, or whatever, whichever part of the world you are, you will see and use the language. Like in Switzerland, we say bonjour. So that's the first thing to connect. And when you're in those social situations or circumstances, also make sure that the child is dressed appropriately. Because if you are in a very conservative society and you're showing off your body, or your hair is messy, or you're wearing some colors which are very different or very awkward, it might put you in a difficult situation. So always remember, when you are trying to socialize, or when you are trying to make your kid understand the process of socialization, these are small homeworks which we as parents need to definitely do, so that the skills that we are trying to develop will evolve accordingly. It's not something hasty. It's not something which is something to be done instantly, but gradually. There are main 5 stages of socialization in general, in the long run. The main always activity is getting to know each other, interacting with people, whether with body language, whether with sign language. If we don't know the language, if we are not aware of the language, I'm saying this because I faced this in the beginning. When I moved to Switzerland, I did not understand a word of French. So for me, the process of socialization took little longer because I was struggling with the language. So that's why I said, whether we do it verbally or non-verbally, socialization always takes place. It always happens. The pace, the speed might differ depending on cultures, depending on countries. So these are the 5 main stages of any kind of socialization: the primary or primate stage, secondary, adult, anticipatory, and re-socialization. But we are going to be focusing on primary and secondary, because that's what children are in. That's the phase that children are in for most of their time. Because once they reach adulthood, we call them children, but once they reach adulthood, then their mind evolves on their own. They are the ones who choose what to do and what not to do. But of course, if the foundation is strong, then it becomes very easy. But if the foundation is fragile, then it might take a longer time. These are the main factors of socialization, and my presentation is going to focus more on this: how we are responsible in shaping the behavior of our children, in evolving the personalities of our children, if we focus on these influences: family, society, culture, and community. Family is the first school for every child. He or she is born in that family. So that's the first interaction the kid has with his parents. As I said, parents are the primary, and then little bit widening up is the grandparents. So if children are in a very safe environment, parents are in a lovely situation, they love each other, there is no friction between the parents, automatically the child is more stronger. He or she evolves strongly. He or she is more strong. He or she is more confident. He speaks very well. He or she speaks with confidence, and there's a spark in the eye. Whereas children who come from families who are not very strong, who come from families where parents are having bit of friction, then it becomes little difficult, because they are not comfortable, they are not able to understand things better, they are not able to understand the areas how things are in a much stronger manner. So family, if it's strong, automatically children will evolve stronger. The second stage is society. Society also plays a very, very important role, because if we are in a society that is always judging us, if we are in a society where people are always very sharp, they're paying attention on rules and regulations too much, then people will not be developing in the same manner. It's important. Society and culture, they go hand in hand. If we are in a situation, or if we are in a place where people are always encouraged to evolve, always encouraged to speak up, always encouraged to come up with their own ideas, they have freedom of power, they have freedom of speech, they have freedom of expression, automatically kids will evolve better. because they don't feel that they're being judged, they don't feel scared, they don't feel that they're being watched. So automatically, the evolvement of such kids, it's much stronger and much beneficial, because they tend to understand the things as they evolve in good situation. And the last one is community. Community also plays a very important role, because when we are talking about community, it's important who are the people who are in our immediate circle of friends, who are the people who are watching us, who are the people with whom we are going out, who are the people with whom we are celebrating. Family is the first one, but the community also plays an important role, because they are constantly our source of inspiration. When we are seeing other people, how they are doing, what they are doing, automatically we want to do like them. Automatically, we want to be better. We want to be in a situation that we can also survive and make it a strong situation. And when we are saying these things, it's very important for everyone to understand that at the end of the day, it's we who are responsible in giving, in installing the right kind of inspiration, the right kind of sources in our children's mind. As I started my presentation with, children's mind is very fragile. So whatever we write on that fragile mind is like a strong ink, which will always be there. So make sure for the process of socialization to be stronger and deeper, we have to have very good intellect. We have to have our minds and ideas very clear, so that we can make our children strong. We can make our children confident and be a strong source of inspiration. It is always in our hands what we do, how we do. So, socialization definitely helps in evolving and making our children brighter and stronger for a better nation. And on that note, I would really like to give this message by concluding my presentation on the strong source of inspiration. Only